When the cameras are rolling, the lights are blinding, and one careless question turns an entire show upside down. That's exactly what happened on a quiet Tuesday morning when Hollywood royalty sat across from America's favorite host, and the world watched respect unravel in real time. The clock hadn't even hit the first commercial break when it happened. 38 seconds. That's all it took for an interview meant to be harmless promotion to detonate into one of the most uncomfortable moments ever seen on morning TV. In that half-minute, laughter turned to silence. Smiles froze in place, and a veteran actor decided he'd had enough. The studio looked perfect that morning. Bright lights, polished floors, a crowd sipping coffee and waiting for the charm of Samuel L. Jackson. He arrived sharp, composed, every inch the professional he's known to be. Years of experience behind him. Millions of fans watching ahead. He'd done this dance before. Shake hands, crack jokes, plug the movie, wave goodbye. Easy. Across from him sat Michael Strahan, ex-football star turned talk show darling, the man who could make any guest relax with a grin and a joke. But beneath that charisma, something restless flickered. The countdown rolled. 3, 2, 1. And suddenly they were live. The country tuned in. The pressure invisible but heavy. For a few fleeting seconds, everything played like a script. Smiles, nods, applause. Then Strahan leaned forward, a casual tone masking something colder. "At your age, Sam," he said, "how much longer can you keep doing those wild action roles?" The sound in the studio shifted, softer, tighter, dangerous. You could feel the oxygen leave the room. Samuel's eyes sharpened, his jaw stilled, the warmth drained from the air. And in that moment, the show stopped being a show. It became something else entirely. 38 seconds later, Samuel L. Jackson would do what few ever dare on live TV: stand up, unclip his mic, and walk away. But to understand why, you have to rewind to the moment when that morning sunshine started to burn. The sun wasn't even fully up when the Good Morning America studio came alive. Makeup lights buzzed softly, casting warm halos over rows of mirrors. The smell of coffee and hairspray mixed in the air, the kind of scent that clings to television mornings. Crew members rushed quietly, adjusting cables, checking mics, whispering countdowns. Everything gleamed. Floors polished to mirror shine, cameras locked and ready. The stage looked like perfection. But underneath that perfection hummed the electric nerves of live TV. Samuel L. Jackson arrived with the calm of a man who's done this 1,000 times. Dark suit, bold tie, that signature mix of grace and grit. He nodded to the staff, flashed a polite smile, and settled in for what he assumed would be another smooth morning of small talk and promotion. He was there to discuss his latest film, an action-packed blockbuster he was proud of. It was supposed to be fun, easy. 15 minutes, then out. Michael Strahan spotted him from across the set, his trademark grin flashing under the studio lights. The man's charm was his weapon. Ex-football legend turned daytime superstar, always ready with a laugh or a line. He moved like he owned the room, like every segment bent toward his energy. Robin Roberts sat to his left, radiating warmth, steady as always. George Stephanopoulos, polished and precise, reviewed his notes on the far side. Together they were the morning show dream team. It was a well-oiled machine. Every cue rehearsed, every camera angle planned. The audience filtered in, polite chatter filling the space. Somewhere in the control booth, a producer whispered through a headset, "We're live in 5. The lights blazed. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1, Good Morning America. Michael's voice boomed with practiced enthusiasm. "And welcome back. Joining us today, the one and only Samuel L. Jackson." Applause rippled through the studio. Samuel grinned, nodding slightly. He looked comfortable, relaxed, maybe even amused. This was his zone. He'd been on talk shows longer than some of the crew had been alive. Michael leaned in, eyes sparkling, playing the friendly host. "So Sam, your new movie, man, it's wild. Explosions, fights, you doing stunts, you're running, jumping, doing all kinds of crazy stuff out there." Samuel chuckled, easing into the banter. "Yeah, I still got a few moves left." Then Michael dropped it, same grin, same easy tone, but the words landed heavy. "At your age, though, how much longer can you keep doing that?" For a split second, nothing moved. The question hung in the air, sharp and awkward. Robin's smile flickered. George glanced down at his papers. A single cough from the audience cut through the silence. Samuel's expression shifted. The warmth drained from his face, replaced by something cooler, harder. His eyes narrowed just enough for the camera to catch it. My age, he repeated slowly, voice smooth but edged with steel. I didn't realize there was an expiration date on passion. The laughter that followed wasn't real. It was thin, forced, the kind that fills silence instead of joy. Robin jumped in quickly, gentle. I think what Michael means is that you've been doing this for so long, and you still bring that incredible energy. How do you keep that going? Michael waved her off with a half laugh, his tone slipping toward smug. No, I meant what I said. I mean, Sam's been in the game, what, 40 years? 50? You've got to start thinking about slowing down at some point, right? You could feel the room change. The brightness dimmed. The energy thickened. George shifted in his chair, uneasy. Robin's hand twitched toward Michael's arm as if to stop him, but it was too late. Samuel sat back, silent for a beat too long. His jaw tightened. The cameras caught the flicker of disbelief, half anger, half restraint. The first crack appeared in the glass, small, almost invisible, but once it was there, you couldn't unsee it. The tension hums low, quiet, dangerous. Everyone on set feels it, even if no one dares to say it out loud. Something's coming, and no amount of TV charm can stop it now. The silence stretches until it vibrates. Every eye in the studio locks on Samuel L. Jackson, waiting for his next move. He's still, unnervingly still. His fingers rest lightly on his knee. When he finally speaks, his voice is low, deliberate. You know, Michael, he says slowly, each syllable measured. I've been doing this for decades. I've earned my place here. His tone isn't loud, but it slices through the air sharper than any shout. It's the kind of calm that makes people lean forward without realizing it. Michael laughs. Too loud, too forced. Come on, Sam, you know what I mean. You're not exactly a spring chicken anymore. The words sound playful, but the smirk ruins it. Robin's hand twitches again. George glances toward the control booth. The producers behind the glass are frozen, not daring to breathe. The brightness of the set seems to dim, the cheerful morning glow replaced by tension so heavy it's almost visible. Samuel doesn't smile. His eyes, usually full of life, narrow slightly. The rhythm of his voice changes, lower, steadier, harder. I know exactly what you mean, he says, leaning forward just enough for the camera to catch the sharpness in his gaze. But I'm not sure you do. The air crackles. A few nervous laughs from the audience fade instantly. Michael presses on, smiling like he's immune to the chill settling around him. Look, I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. You've had an amazing run, 40, 50 years. That's a hell of a career. But at some point, you've got to start thinking about passing the torch, right? Robin cuts in quickly, her voice tight but kind. What we're trying to ask, Michael interrupts, waving a hand without even looking at her. No, Robin, I'm asking a real question here. That's when it shifts. The charm's gone. His voice hardens, pushing instead of playing. At what point do you look in the mirror and say, maybe it's time to let the young bloods take over? The audience murmurs, you can feel it. Embarrassment, disbelief. The vibe flips completely. Samuel exhales through his nose, a soft sound, but full of warning. He tilts his head slightly, eyes locked on Michael. You really want to go there? Michael shrugs, pretending innocence. Hey, I'm just being honest. Robin's smile is gone now. Her voice trembles slightly when she speaks. Michael, that's enough, but Michael doesn't stop. Ego takes the wheel. What? I can't ask a simple question? I thought that's what we do here. Honest conversation, right? George shifts in his seat, fingers tightening around his cards. He looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Samuel leans back, expression unreadable. Honest conversation is one thing, he says slowly. But there's a line between asking questions and disrespect. The words land like a punch. Michael raises his hands, trying to play the victim. Whoa, hold on. I'm not disrespecting anyone. You're taking it too personally. The camera zooms in on Samuel's face. You can practically feel the temperature drop. His jaw tightens, the calm before the storm. You're questioning my value because of a number, he says. That's not honesty, Michael. That's arrogance. A soft collective gasp ripples through the audience. Someone whispers in the back row. Robin closes her eyes briefly, wishing herself invisible. Michael leans forward, voice dipping into that defensive tone that always makes things worse. Man, I'm just keeping it real. You can't act like age doesn't matter. People talk about it. Samuel's lips press into a thin line. People talk about a lot of things. Doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. Robin tries again, desperate to save the show. Gentlemen, maybe we should... Strahan cuts her off again. No, I'm not done. You've been doing this forever, Sam. Maybe people just want to know if you're ready to take a step back, that's all. Now the air is razor thin. Even the camera crew hesitates to move, afraid to break the tension. Samuel's voice drops lower, quiet, but every word lands like a hammer. You know what, Michael? Maybe learn what respect is before you question someone's worth. It's like the whole studio exhales at once. A sharp gasp ripples through the audience. A woman in the front row covers her mouth. Robin freezes mid-sentence. George looks like he's about to intervene, but doesn't. Michael blinks, startled, hiding it behind a grin. Wow, he says, shaking his head. Touchy, huh? Didn't realize asking tough questions was off limits. Robin's tone softens, pleading now. Michael, please, he ignores her. Guess it's true what they say. Some people just can't handle a little heat. Samuel doesn't move. His stillness is louder than any outburst. His eyes stay locked on Michael's. Calm, unblinking, dangerous. The silence feels alive, stretching longer, heavier until it seems like the studio itself is holding its breath. Robin leans forward, voice trembling. Michael, that's enough. But Michael, blind to the warning and too far in to stop, keeps going. Come on, man. Don't act like you're some untouchable saint. Everyone's got to retire sometime. That's life. Samuel's smile is cold, humorless. Everyone's got to learn respect sometime. That's life too. For a moment, there's no sound, no laughter, no movement. Just that look. Samuel's gaze. Michael's forced grin. Robin's anxious eyes. George's nervous shifting. The kind of moment people remember exactly where they were when it happened. And with one blink, the tone of the show changes forever. The morning brightness, the charm, the warmth all dissolve, leaving only two men staring each other down across a coffee table. One holding his ground, the other too proud to see he's already lost. The silence is brutal. The audience feels it. America feels it. And somewhere in that charged quiet, the morning show stops being morning television. It becomes something else entirely. A slow-motion collision between ego and dignity, broadcast live for the world to see. For a moment, no one moves. The air feels heavy, like the walls themselves are holding their breath. Samuel L. Jackson sits there, posture still as stone, eyes locked on Michael Strahan with a calm that makes everyone else uneasy. The tension hums through the cameras, the studio lights, the frozen crew behind their lenses. Robin's hands twist in her lap. George glances toward the control booth, mouthing something the producers are too stunned to answer. Then Samuel exhales quietly, reaches down and unclips his mic. The soft click of metal against fabric cuts through the silence louder than any shout. The sound man freezes mid-step. Samuel doesn't look at anyone. He doesn't have to. The decision is written all over him. Real journalists don't ambush their guests, he says. Voice low, steady, dangerous. The kind of tone that cuts through arrogance like a blade through silk. Real journalists don't use their platform to belittle people. He places the mic on the coffee table. The gentle drop lands with a thud that echoes through the studio. The sound of finality. For a heartbeat, nobody moves. Then a slow ripple of applause starts from the back row, hesitant at first, then building, swelling. Robin's eyes glisten. George leans back, caught between disbelief and despair. Michael forces a smirk, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Oh, sure, walk away. Real mature, Sam. Samuel stops mid-step, turns his head just enough for his voice to carry. I respect myself too much to entertain this nonsense, he says. You think this is pressure, Michael, this? He gestures around at the cameras, the audience, the lights. This is just sad. The words hang like smoke, thick and heavy. He straightens his jacket, smooths his cuffs, and walks toward the edge of the set. Not rushed, not flinching. Every step deliberate, calm, dignified. The audience watches wide-eyed as Samuel L. Jackson, a man who's faced villains, explosions, and cinematic chaos, walks away from something far uglier. Disrespect. Cameras keep rolling. Robin calls softly, Samuel, please, but her voice breaks. George starts to rise, unsure whether to follow or stop him. Michael leans back, still forcing a grin, but his eyes betray anger, embarrassment. Something darker. So that's it? You're really walking off? You're proving my point, man. Can't handle a little heat, huh? Robin snaps her head toward him. Michael, stop talking, she says sharply. You're making it worse. He shrugs, laughs tight and hollow. Oh, come on. Everyone's thinking it, Michael. George's voice is hard now. That's enough, but the damage is done. The audience is silent again as Samuel reaches the exit, the doors parting just as the lights catch his face. He doesn't look back. In the control booth, producers panic. "Cut to commercial." "Now," one shouts. But the floor crew hesitates. This is live television history and no one wants to be the one to stop it. Robin stands, stepping toward the camera, her expression heartbroken, furious, ashamed. "Michael," she says again, quieter. "Just stop." He doesn't. "What? I'm the bad guy now?" I ask a question, he throws a fit, and I'm the problem. His voice echoes across the stage, bouncing off the walls of what used to be the friendliest set in America. George rises fully, face tight. "We're going to break," he says through clenched teeth, signaling to the booth. Michael laughs again, joyless, shaky. "You all saw that," he mutters. "Hollywood can dish it out, but can't take it." Robin slams her cue cards onto the table. The snap sounds like thunder. "Enough," she says, sharp and final. "You've done enough damage for one morning." Samuel's footsteps fade down the hallway beyond the set. The audience breaks into scattered applause. Some supportive, some uncertain, all shaken. George looks at the camera, professionalism barely holding. "We'll be right back," he says, his voice trembling on the last word. The red light fades. The broadcast cuts to black, but inside the studio chaos erupts. Crew members rush in every direction, whispers turning to shouts. Robin sinks into her seat, rubbing her forehead like she's holding back a years-long headache. Michael sits stiffly, arms crossed, glancing toward the control booth where producers glare through the glass. For the first time all morning, he looks uncertain, smaller somehow. Robin looks up, her voice low but seething. "Do you even realize what you just did?" Michael stares back, defensive. "I did my job," George exhales, weary. "No, Michael. You lit a match and threw it at the whole damn show." Outside, Samuel's car pulls away, sunlight glinting off the windshield. He doesn't look back, doesn't wave, doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. Inside, the faint applause still lingers, the echo of respect reclaiming the space he just left behind. Robin whispers to herself, almost inaudible. "He handled that better than any of us could have." No one answers. The hum of the lights fills the void where laughter used to be. The cameras are off, but the damage is permanent. Somewhere out there, millions of viewers are replaying that moment. The legend who didn't shout, didn't argue. He just stood up, spoke his truth, and walked away. And that silence said everything. The commercial break feels endless, but not long enough to fix what just happened. Behind the scenes, chaos hums like static. Producers barking into headsets, camera operators avoiding eye contact, the control booth scrambling for damage control. No one knows what to say or how to move forward. The air still feels scorched from Samuel's walk-off, and every passing second makes the silence heavier. Then the red light flashes again. They're live. Robin straightens her papers with trembling hands. George inhales deeply, eyes fixed on the teleprompter, but the words don't help. The studio audience sits in stunned quiet, the kind that follows a crash. Robin forces a smile, her voice tight but steady. "Welcome back," she says. "As you can see, we've had an unexpected turn of events this morning." George steps in, tone calm but taut, holding the show together by sheer will. "We at Good Morning America want to take a moment to apologize. To our guests, to our viewers. What happened earlier doesn't reflect who we are or how we treat the people who join us here." Robin nods. "Samuel L. Jackson is one of the most respected actors in the world. He's earned that respect, and this morning he didn't receive it." The words land like a gavel. Michael sits between them, jaw locked, eyes forward, lips pressed tight. He doesn't speak. The camera lingers on him for a beat before cutting away, but the damage is visible. He's been benched, silent on his own show. During the break, the producer's order was short and brutal. Let Robin and George handle it. Michael stays quiet. Robin's voice softens, but her words cut deep. "It's our show, Michael, not yours." A heartbeat of truth hangs in the air before she turns back to the camera, her tone smoothing again, but everyone feels it. That single line just redrew the power map of the entire show. The broadcast limps forward. The next segment, a chef promoting a fall recipe, plays like a hostage situation. His hands shake as he chops onions, his laugh cracking mid-sentence. Robin tries to keep things light, but the energy is gone. The air thick with leftover tension. George nods along, mechanical. His smile stretched and unconvincing. In the control booth, a producer whispers, "This feels cursed." He's right, the weather report comes next. Rushed like the meteorologists trying to escape. "We're seeing some scattered showers in the northeast. Back to you, Robin." He's off screen before the cue ends. The camera cuts back to the couch. Robin looks composed, but her eyes are tired. George shuffles papers that don't need shuffling. Michael still hasn't spoken. He stares at the desk, a man trying to look in control while everything around him burns. From the audience, someone coughs. The sound cracks through the microphone like a gunshot in a church. Between segments, the floor crew moves quietly, heads down, whispering as they adjust lights and cables. "Is he fired?" one asks. "Not yet," another murmurs. "But give it a day." Michael doesn't look at anyone. His fingers drum restlessly against his thigh. Robin keeps her distance. George avoids his gaze. The usual small talk that fills commercial breaks has evaporated. No jokes, no chatter, just that unspoken question. What happens now? Halfway through the next break, Michael stands abruptly. No warning, no cue. He walks off the set, his footsteps echoing through the stage. The door slams behind him, sharp enough to make someone in the back row flinch. No one follows. Robin exhales, the weight of the morning catching up to her. She leans toward George, her voice barely above a whisper. "What a disaster." George nods, pale under the lights. "I've never seen anything like that," he mutters. "Not on live television." The final segment drags. Every smile feels rehearsed. Every laugh dies too quickly. Even the audience looks like they're waiting to be released. The clock ticks louder than the conversation. When the credits roll, Robin reads her closing lines flawlessly, but her eyes show exhaustion. "Thank you for watching Good Morning America," she says softly. "We'll see you tomorrow," George adds. "Have a good day, everyone." The words sound mechanical. The cameras fade to black. As the feed cuts, Robin slumps in her chair. The lights dim slightly as the crew begins to move again, whispers rising into low murmurs. No one claps. No one smiles. The tension doesn't fade. It settles like dust after a bomb. Through the glass wall of the control booth, producers are already on the phone with executives, drafting statements, trying to patch the unpatchable. George loosens his tie, staring blankly at the floor. Robin looks toward the empty chair where Michael sat. "He's going to blame everyone but himself," she says quietly. George doesn't answer. Somewhere in the building, a door slams again. The echo carries faintly across the set, freezing everyone in place. Then the silence returns, thick, heavy, swallowing everything. The show is over, but the fallout has only just begun. By the time the studio lights dim and the crew starts packing up, the story has already escaped the building. In the age of smartphones, nothing stays contained. Within minutes, the internet catches fire. Respect Samuel Jackson rockets to the top of X, a digital explosion. The clip of him unhooking his mic, that quiet authority in his voice, the line that sliced through morning TV politeness. "Real journalists don't ambush their guests," spreads across every feed. On TikTok, fans remix the moment with dramatic music. On YouTube, reaction videos appear by the hour. Instagram reels flood with slow-motion edits of Samuel walking off, applause swelling behind him like an anthem. The world takes sides almost instantly. "Michael Strahan was just doing his job," one post reads. "If celebs can't take tough questions, maybe they shouldn't come on live TV." Seconds later, a reply fires back. "Doing his job? That wasn't journalism. That was disrespect." Samuel handled it like a pro. Comment threads ignite into arguments. Tweets, quote tweets, hashtags, GIFs. One side defends Michael's right to ask questions. The other calls him smug, arrogant, out of touch. Memes spread like wildfire. Robin's horrified face, George's frozen stare, Michael's forced grin. Every frame, every word, every breath is dissected. The court of public opinion is in session, and it's ruthless. Inside ABC headquarters, panic erupts. Conference calls, red alerts, crisis emails flood the network. Executives pack a glass-walled boardroom, faces drawn and tense. No one has coffee, only bottled water and anxiety. Someone plays the viral clip again. When it ends, the silence feels heavier than the footage itself. "We need a statement," one executive says, rubbing his forehead. "Immediately," another voice cuts in. "We can't throw Michael under the bus. He's part of the brand." A third responds, colder. The brand's already on fire. Meanwhile, Robin Roberts sits alone in her dressing room, still in full makeup, staring at her reflection. The fluorescent lights hum faintly above her. She replays the morning, the moment she could have stopped it, the hesitation, the words she didn't say. "I should have stepped in faster," she whispers. Guilt presses hard against her chest. Across the hall, George Stephanopoulos leans against his desk, tie loosened, eyes glazed. His phone buzzes nonstop, texts from producers, colleagues, even rivals, all asking the same question. What happened? He has no answer. After decades in live television, he's never seen anything fall apart so completely, so fast. Behind a closed door, Michael paces his dressing room, muttering under his breath. Oversensitive. That's what it is. They're all oversensitive. His phone lights up with mentions, messages, and media requests, but he ignores them. His reflection stares back, jaw tight, eyes wild. "I just asked a question," he says again, louder this time, as if repetition might make it true. Outside, the hallway hums with whispers. Crew members pass quietly, eyes averted. No one wants to be the first to speak to him. And somewhere across Manhattan, Samuel L. Jackson is already gone. No interviews, no statements, no damage control, just gone. He left the building with the same composure he carried through the confrontation. Silent, dignified, unbothered. His team tries to reach him, but he doesn't need to talk or tweet. The truth already spoke for itself. The footage told the story better than any PR statement ever could. By afternoon, news outlets swarm the moment like vultures. Entertainment anchors dissect it frame by frame. Analysts debate tone and intent. Former hosts share cautionary tales. Commentators label it everything from a masterclass in grace under fire to a meltdown in real time. By evening, every network is running it. ABC, CNN, TMZ. Even late-night comedians reference it in their monologues, not with mockery but fascination. It's no longer just a viral clip. It's a cultural flashpoint. Across the country, viewers argue like it's politics at diners, offices, cabs, and living rooms. But beneath the noise, one truth stands out. Samuel didn't lose his temper. He didn't raise his voice or insult anyone. He stood his ground, drew a line, and walked away. That restraint becomes the story. Commentators start calling it the walk-off heard around the world. Editorials frame it as a lesson in dignity. Hashtags evolve. Respect Samuel Jackson turns into Walk with Sam, a rallying cry for self-respect and boundaries. Inside the GMA building, the mood sinks deeper. Robin stays late, still replaying everything. George quietly packs up and leaves without a word. Producers avoid each other's eyes. Michael's door stays shut, though the sound of pacing never stops. By midnight, the internet shifts from outrage to reflection. People post Samuel's words against black backgrounds. Real journalists don't ambush their guests. Some call it a quote for media ethics classes. Others just call it truth. Somewhere in the city, Samuel sits in the backseat of a car watching the skyline pass. The world is shouting his name, but he doesn't say a word. He doesn't need to. Dignity doesn't need a microphone, only a moment. And he owned it, live on television. By morning, the moment is already pop culture history. The clip plays on talk shows, morning news, late-night recaps, even college classrooms analyzing tone, posture, and poise. Analysts slow the footage frame by frame. Samuel's calm face, Michael's tightening jaw. The instant everything changed. Commentators call it a masterclass in self-respect. The moment dignity stood taller than ego, a live TV reckoning. Every outlet lands on the same conclusion. Samuel didn't just walk off a set. He walked straight into legend. Michael's reputation, meanwhile, unravels in slow motion. What started as tough journalism now reads as arrogance. His smile looks like a mask slipping live on air. The network's PR team floods social media with words like passion and miscommunication, but nothing sticks. The audience saw what they saw. Behind closed doors, meetings stretch into hours. Executives debate whether Michael should apologize. Some say it's too late. Others say it's the only chance left. Sponsors start asking questions. Robin sits in her dressing room long after the lights go out, sipping cold coffee. Her reflection looks softer now. George leans in the doorway, arms crossed. "You okay?" he asks quietly. Robin nods, eyes distant. "I keep thinking about him," she says. The way he handled it. No yelling. No grandstanding. Just calm, strength, and truth. She exhales, a sound filled with awe and regret. That's what Grace Under Fire looks like. George nods. Yeah, and that's what the audience saw too. Out in the world, people begin treating Samuel's moment as a benchmark. Articles headline when to walk away. Podcasts analyze it as a case study in emotional intelligence. Students quote him in essays about professionalism. The clip becomes shorthand for boundaries, for knowing when silence is more powerful than argument. Somewhere in Los Angeles, Samuel sits in a quiet room, sunlight filtering through half-open blinds. He still hasn't spoken publicly. He doesn't need to. The dignity he carried out of that studio speaks louder than any statement ever could. As the footage replays across America, one image endures: Samuel L. Jackson's silhouette leaving the Good Morning America stage. His stride steady, shoulders squared, head high. The applause fades, but the impact doesn't. And as his figure disappears beyond the frame, a message seems to echo through the static of that broadcast. Soft, but unshakable. In an industry obsessed with staying on screen, Samuel L. Jackson reminded everyone, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away.